YouTube is updating their policy.
Okay.
And I'm gonna read it off of a quote from it just to make sure I say it exactly right. On December 10th, they are updating their terms of service with a new clause that they can terminate anyone they deem not commercially viable.
Huh.
So that means if you're using an ad blocker, maybe they disallow you from using the service. If you post a lot of videos, but you're not bringing in any money, they may stop allowing you to post videos. And this is on top of, I don't know if you saw anything about the Markiplier YouTube stream the other day.
I did see that one.
Where they were banning access to Gmail for posting heart emojis in a YouTube live stream. So,
yeah.
I mean, I'm glad I don't use Google for all that much. I was forced to switch over to Google Docs just due to not being able to pay $400 for Microsoft Office.
Right.
But I'm glad I don't use Gmail as my primary email, because if they could just shut off access. That I was reading, there was somebody online that said that should be a felony, and I kind of agree. It's like tampering with somebody's mailbox.
I mean, I guess they own it, is the idea.
Well, but yeah, the thing is, email today is the mail of the 50s, 60s, and 70s, you know?
Exactly. You need it.
And if you cannot function without it. And the number of services that you have email verification with, like, it is crucial to have. So
no, I'm in complete agreement. And
so I've backed up everything. Just
pull the plug on it.
I've backed up everything we have because I don't think we're commercially viable, Cooper. So we'll see.
Hey, well,
saying that, we did get 31 views on Rex Orange County last I looked. So.
Oh, hey. Well, maybe it's because his new album came out.
Yeah, getting the clicks.
Increased traffic.
But,
yeah, well, I'm down for that.
Yeah, so I have them all backed up just in case something happens.
That's probably for the best in case YouTube pulls a poop on us.
Yeah.
And just takes us out.
And the biggest issue is what is it? The with the Markiplier thing, at least. There's actually no human interaction. Like,
right, it's all robot.
Yeah, even when you go to the repeal process, they don't have any humans reviewing it.
Just a robot.
They trust the YouTube algorithm to verify all these claims, and it's just a bunch of patchwork pilot. Excuse my French, and I know we don't usually swear, but pile of shit that they just say it works perfectly. So
yeah, well, yeah, it's not very, very effective. Hopefully they fix it more, but I'm guessing they won't.
Yeah, we're starting to have a pretty big issue with all these technology monopolies that are going on.
You did say you want to break up Google.
Yes, I did. It's time to get some trust busting. Theodore Roosevelt, President 2020.
Let's drag him out. He can do it. He's got the mustache for it.
I wish. He wasn't a perfect man, but he was a darn good man.
It'd probably be hard to explain what the internet is to him, though.
True. Very true.
Is that like the Panamas? It's mine. Oh, Theodore.
Okay, let's see. Oh wait, no, I gotta do. So you do anything exciting this week?
It was pretty low key overall. Didn't really go anywhere. Having some family health things going on.
Oh,
it's unfortunate, but no, for the most part, it's been pretty low key this one. Say I've been doing anything too exciting this weekend, besides, of course, listening to some ELO. That's always exciting.
I had to force myself not. Sorry, I can't type and talk at the same time. I had to force myself not to listen to the new album because after you said that, I was like, you're totally right that's going to absolutely color this review just a little bit.
That's what I was thinking as well. You gotta figure we get this one and then we can do the next album and the next review.
Because I know this album by heart, but still, I was like, I know I'm gonna start talking about the other album too, so I should not listen to it, and then I can really binge it this week. And then
There, at least I was watching Matt's live stream earlier, and he was listening through the album
I saw that.
Alone in the Universe. So.
Well, it said I got a notification he went live at 1:55, and I got that notification, and it was 1:57. So I'm like, oh, I'll go watch, and I clicked it. He was already offline, and the most recent clip was 16 seconds long.
Oh, I got the notification, and I jumped on like 3 hours later, and he was on playing Spyro. So
I did. I guess I feel bad now because I think I got the notification way later. So
well.
So by the way, I don't need you to go to the surplus store since I'm.
Oh yeah, that's. I kind of assumed.
Yeah.
But
just making sure you know.
Oh, what time do you think you'll be coming up?
Well, I'm gonna try and get there right as it opens.
What? So like noonish?
Before it opens, yeah. Because since we want to build a PC for my sister, I need to get in there. Because whenever there's a sale, they just get cleared out, and I know for a fact that even though it's only active military and veterans, it's still gonna get cleared out. So.
Wait, if it's only active military, that's allowed to buy?
Well, no, they're the only ones that get 50% off.
Okay. So you're just there to beat the crowd.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Well, yeah, we should grab some lunch. I'm down.
And then I'll obviously stick around since Malia wants to hang out later.
I'm down for that. You can crash at my place.
No, you got anything exciting coming up this week?
This week. Actually, not too much.
Pretty calm one.
Pretty calm one. I got most of my homework done, which is always nice.
That's good.
So just hunker down, finish up my paperwork for the Japan trip.
Oh yes, that'll be real
cool. Yeah, mostly that. Just prepare for the cold weather to come blowing in.
It was actually really nice here today.
Nice today.
Yeah,
but it will not last. It will not last.
It was 60 today, and we have a winter weather warning in effect until Monday evening at 7. So.
Hey.
But make sure you're looking at the screen when we do eventually switch over to doing it, because I made a little something.
Oh, a little something extra.
A little something extra, yeah. Last night I finally kicked myself in the pants enough to try and learn Stellaris again.
How'd that work out?
Oh God, they changed. So Paradox runs. I'm sure you know this, Cooper, on a DLC based model, right?
Right.
So Stellaris came out in 2016, and then every time they release a big DLC, they also release a free patch. So the base game has changed crap loads from 2016.
Right, makes sense.
Which I played it from when did I play it? I played it 2017 to 2018-ish, but although when we started playing in 2017, we played one version, and then we jumped a version and played the 2018 thing, I think. Did I say? Yeah. No, I think it was probably still in 2017, actually. But they changed a lot. So last night I sat down. I'm going to relearn the system. I'll figure this all out. The learning's the hardest part. So I'm pretty far along in the game. I've been running at fastest speed this whole time. So what is it? I think 10 days go by in a second or something like that. So
wow.
I've been playing about 3-4 hours. And then everything just starts breaking down. I'm running a machine empire, so everything runs on energy, and I just cannot produce enough freaking energy.
Right.
And then on the planets, they changed it so it's not just that tile system that there was before. So before each planet had 7 to 23 squares, and in each square a pop would eventually grow up, and then you could build a building there, and they would work that thing, right? But in this one, now there's what is it? Is it 4 by? I don't know. There's a lot more. You can build a lot more buildings. However, there's also something that I saw but didn't really think about. There's something called districts.
Okay.
And districts are basically the system of old, right?
Okay.
I didn't build any districts. So
that sounds bad.
I ignored 50% of the content on planets and was wondering why my empire was starting to collapse.
See those.
I had like 30 unemployed people on every planet. I'm like, what? I can't build enough buildings to house you and have somewhere to work. The buildings are special buildings. The districts are where everybody normally works. I felt like a complete idiot when I finally figured that out.
So those games are just so stressful, like Stellaris and Factorio. There's like so much to consider.
Well, Stellaris isn't really that bad single player because you can pause it whenever. So like right. I'll pause and go around and do things. I mean the AI can be annoying sometimes, but that's fine. When you're doing it multiplayer, it can get a little stressful trying to do everything as quick as possible. But there's really, once you get a queue going of a couple things, you kind of just sit there and let a couple of years go by before you do anything else. Something might come up or something like that, but otherwise you're just kind of sitting. But I think I figured it out. I think I'm going to play again after this. Start a new save. I don't want to go back to that old one. I was about to get stomped on by a neighboring AI.
You're learning, is what you're saying.
Yeah, and then hopefully I can rope you and Matt into actually playing a game with me.
Oh man, I don't know. I was balancing my budget this week, and that's what I did. I guess I'm a boomer now.
No, that's important. That's an important thing to do.
It is, especially with everything coming up before I get my job. I'm like, can I make it with like something with a healthy amount to actually like rent a place if I need to later? But it felt I actually thought to myself, I'm like, this is what Sam does for fun with video games.
Yep, you're
like
right.
this, but on a computer.
Let me see if I can find ducking off to the side of the microphone here. I got a little notebook. And I stuck. Remember I was trying to 100% Starbound, that game by Chucklefish.
I think you told me about it.
So I got 3 sheets here. You can hear them rattling around. Where I could have done this in Excel, but I wanted to handwrite it. I made little. You don't
want Google to steal your Excel sheets.
Exactly. I made little spreadsheets of. So like this one is you have to collect all the fossils. So here I have all the completed fossils and then the components. There's 3 components: skull, torso, legs. So I've got those, and once I find them all, I cross it off. So I know I don't have to look for those things anymore. And then on the other side of the sheet is the bugs. You have to collect 42 different bugs for an achievement. So I have the number, the name, and what kind of biome it's found in. And then I have on my second sheet is all of the armor. That's the whole sheet. So it's each each race has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 armor. So it's finding all that, crafting all that, and that was what I was working on before I took a break.
Lord.
And the last achievement is all the different races' books, which you just kind of have to find. So I've got a little tracking list here of all the books. That game's hard to 100%, man. That's not even counting. What is it?
You got the bug report. So I'm working on the armor project right now. Well, try to drop it by my office by Friday. Okay, yeah, sure thing, boss.
The hardest one is the freaking action figure one. Where the action figures are a 1 in 1,000 drop from specific animals, and the animals are all randomly placed on different planets. Some of the animals are even randomly generated, so they're not on the action figure list. The action figures are a 1 in 1,000 drop, and you need 50 of them to get the achievement.
Goodness. So, see, that's like that. At that point, it's just like, why? I just want to play Mario. I want to hop around and grab things.
I mean, it's in space, which I think helps.
Okay. Mario was in space.
That's a good point, yeah. But you remember I made Mario unnecessarily difficult for myself as well, trying to collect all the Power Moons without using the Odyssey once I got beat Bowser.
I do remember that, so.
I haven't done that yet, but I got a lot. I have quite a few.
Oh, man. What was this again? A music podcast?
I thought this was Tax Time with Cooper.
Oh, no, I already balanced my budget, so I'm all moneyed out for this weekend.
You want to get into it? Sorry, go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was looking through my account, and I freaked out for a second. So I'm like, why am I missing all this money? And they're like, oh, wait, I put it all in my Roth IRA. I'm like, right? I kind of wish I had that right now. That'd be nice.
I was talking with my dad about that kind of stuff this weekend, explaining all that kind of thing to me. Since hopefully I'm going to have a job soon. Waiting to hear from 3 companies right now. So.
Ooh, I hope you hear back from them.
I hope so too.
Maybe they'll be very personal like that one lady is.
Well, that was one of the companies, yeah. Although two of them I'm waiting to hear if they want to give me an interview. One I'm waiting to hear back from an interview. So.
Ooh, okay.
All right. Well, here we go.
Okay. All right. Did you do that?
Yes, I did.
Wow,
Welcome, everyone, to Thanks-Lynning, as we coined it. This is this Audio Shop podcast, as always. I'm Sam.
And I'm Cooper.
And
this artwork is done by Sam. That's perfect. Yeah. You can barely tell where the neck ends and the turkey begins.
Yeah. So this is the first album of Thanks-Lynning, where we are going to be reviewing at least 2 ELO albums.
Minimum 2.
I might be able to rope Cooper into a third. We'll see if he's burnt out after.
We'll see by the second
out of
one.
Nowhere. But I felt he suggested that we do Alone in the Universe before doing From Out of Nowhere, and we tried to come up with a name. And of course, Cooper, being the
big brain boy,
English genius that he is, came up with Thanks-Lynning.
It's my domination of the English language has finally come in handy.
Yeah. So I should actually put a little text source here.
And for those of you that aren't familiar with the ELO discography, so we're planning on this week to be reviewing Alone in the Universe, which is their 2015 album. So their almost most recent album. And the next week we'll be reviewing their hot off the presses, literally released 3 days ago, album From Out of Nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
So 2019. So this is new ELO.
And it just didn't feel right to rush it that quickly, going from release to review just within a few days.
Yeah, we wanted to let it marinate a little bit in our brains. And we haven't listened to the new album yet, so we're not going to let that color our impressions of this album.
No, and I mean, I've listened to 2 of the songs, but I haven't listened to the album. I held myself back.
Yes, it's very, very strong of you.
Yeah, it took not a lot of force, actually. I didn't want to color my impression. So I'll launch into a little bit of... yeah, I know, I'll get to that, Matt. Launch into a little bit of the history here. So, as we said before, we've done one ELO album before, Time, arguably the best. Fight me.
I think it'd be easy to say that ELO is your favorite band of all time, correct?
Probably,
Sam?
yeah. You're probably
right.
right.
That's just a little preference there.
ELO is a British rock band formed in 1970 by Jeff Lynne and Roy Wood with drummer Bev Bevan. That is his real name.
Wow, that's a great name.
Roy Wood departed in 1972, so just 2 years after the band's creation. And from there on out, Jeff Lynne arranged and produced practically every album. So the group originally disbanded in 1986, but returned in 2001 to release Zoom, which was their album 3 albums ago or something like that.
Yeah, it's their 3 albums.
Yeah, and then Alone in the Universe was released November 13th, 2015. So we're doing this just 4 days before Alone in the Universe's 4th birthday.
Wow, time flies.
Yeah, and it is the first album to bear the name Jeff Lynne's ELO, and this was to combat the use of the name by imitation bands. So,
and also because at this point it basically is just Jeff Lynne.
Yeah, you say that. This is from Wikipedia. Lynne played nearly every instrument himself. The only other 2 people involved in this album's production were Laura Lynne, Jeff's daughter, who sings the background vocals on Love and Rain and One Step at a Time, and Steve J., the album's engineer, who plays the shaker and tambourine. So
wow.
Jeff plays the drums, he sings, he plays bass, he plays the guitar. I assume the strings are on a keyboard because I don't think he can play violin, but maybe he can. I don't know. But literally everything on this album, written, produced, played by Jeff Lynne. So
I was going to make a joke about him like slapping his name like Tyler Perry's Jeff Lynne's ELO. Yeah. But now I'm infinitely more impressed, so I won't make that joke.
Yeah, so I will say as a preface, this is significantly less complex, I feel, than previous ELO albums. However, you got to remember, previous ELO albums have a heck of a lot more band members than this one.
And it's also back in their prime, not when Jeff Lynne was what, like 68 when this album came out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even Zoom, it was still a reunion album. You know, it wasn't just Jeff Lynne. So this is a far cry from the ELO of old, but it still has the same person behind all of the songs, since, you know, Jeff Lynne's been doing this since 72.
He's got a couple, got some experience under his belt.
Exactly. This is a very short album. It's like 29 minutes, which is
29, 10 minutes long, 10 songs long.
Ridiculous.
Unless you're doing the Japan version, which has 11 songs.
Yeah, and it's crazy. And since we're talking about the Japanese release, I'll talk about that a little bit now instead of at the end. This isn't the first time they've done this. On Zoom, had Long Dark Road, which was only released in Japan. That song.
Do they have like a large Japanese audience or something?
I don't know, but then that song was used in American Hustle. So I don't know why they keep releasing songs only in Japan.
Maybe Jeff Lynne's a secret weeaboo.
Maybe. Yeah, the track title is On My Mind, and it's the final song on the Japanese album. I actually hadn't heard this one very many times. This is one that comes on and it's like, what? This is an ELO song? Because, you know, I listened to what's available, and for some reason the Japanese one is not available except posted by some random person on YouTube. But
I haven't even heard that one. So
it's very old school ELO, extremely high in octave, with Jeff singing more ups and downs like he always used to do. A lot of lyrical variation, and that's the song. It's a good song. Go listen to it. Definitely worth a listen. But it's really odd how they keep putting these special songs onto the Japanese album.
They must have a Japanese market for it. I don't know.
I wonder if there's maybe there's like some Japanese law about minimum album length or minimum number of
like
songs.
It has to be 30 minutes.
Maybe.
So they just pump one out for Japan.
You think they would just put the bonus tracks on then?
Well, I mean, I'm not sure why they did it, but I guess Japan got a little something extra for their troubles.
Yeah, I guess. So now that whole rant is done, we can jump right on into the first song if you're ready, Cooper.
Yeah, I say we jump into it.
First song, track number 1, When I Was a Boy.
When I Was a Boy. And this is a pretty strong opening to this album.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of sets the tone. So this album's a little sad, you know, especially by ELO standards. And this one kind of sets the mood for that. Or it's not a sad song per se. Like, you're not gonna feel sad listening to it, but the lyrics have a little nostalgia to it, a little bit of melancholy mixed in there. And it starts off nice and slow with Jeff Lynne's voice over a piano. And might I add, he's sounded pretty crisp for 68.
Oh yeah, he's come down a bit in the octaves, but his voice has gotten a lot stronger, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you can't even hear, like, usually with a lot of rock bands, you can hear their age in their voice. Like, they don't sound bad, but you can tell that's an older man's voice. I mean, here I can barely tell. It almost sounds like a young man's voice.
Mm-hmm. And especially once he starts going up in octaves later. Well, I guess in this song too.
Yeah. When I was a boy.
That note is so high.
And he hits it every time.
Every time.
Oh man. But yeah, it's a beautiful I'm not gonna call it a ballad, but definitely a rock maybe a rock ballad would be a way to use it, because it's got the strings, it's got the electric guitar solo, classic style.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely feels like a ELO song, even though it's just Jeff Lynne on here.
Yeah.
Because one of the worries when I had first listened to this, when you first suggested it to me, well, you know, it's only Jeff Lynne. So how much is this just he slapped the ELO name on it, but it's really just a different sound. But a lot of the DNA is infused into this album. You can tell it right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, you got to remember he's been the only producer since 1972, so it's just him kind of making music at this point, or I guess has been since 72. But, you know, very classic ELO, piano, strings, they've kind of moved away from the orchestral element over the years, which, you know, some people like, some people don't. There's a split camp on that. But it really feels like calling back to old school ELO and Jeff just kind of singing about his childhood. And throughout this, I wrote this for the first three, and I apologize. It's going to get repetitive, but I stopped myself after the third song.
You're the repetitive one this time.
I know, and I even say that on the third song. Focus is far and away on the vocals. The drum line is very simple, minimal acoustic guitar, a little bit of synth, but it is vocals all day long. And overall, as I was saying earlier, this is a much lower register than the Lynne of old, but he still smacks those high notes around.
I mean, even a low register for Lynne is like a normal register for us mortals.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And it also has, like I said, that guitar solo. So it's not like only Lynne.
Very, very classical guitar solo. I was saying it was a bit slow for a rock band, but his style has significantly evolved over the years. This is more of a low key album than previous ones. So
it feels a little more contemplative.
Yeah. Very nostalgic sounding.
Which I guess probably is part of it's just because it's a sound you don't hear as much in today's albums, because, you know, he's from a different age.
Yeah. Great start to the album, though. Very, very strong first song.
I agree. And with that, we can move on to the second song, which I didn't know had his daughter's backing vocals, but I guess it does. Song number 2, Love and Rain.
So this was the song that originally made me doubt the album when I first started listening to it. Because I listened to this song and I was like, what? ELO doesn't do female backing vocals. Like, this is it's either
that's considered radical for the band.
Well, it is. I mean, it's usually always Lynne singing. Like, there's usually not. Sometimes they'll get one of the other member, or at least they used to get one of the other members in to sing, but it was always one of the band members. You know, they didn't really bring in any outside singers.
Right, it was all in house.
But over time, I don't know if I what's the word?
Got Stockholm syndrome
too. You read my mind. I don't know if I Stockholm myself into liking it, but I think it just got a lot less uptight, you know?
Right.
So
I mean, I guess it also, the backing vocals is his daughter, so it's basically the same gene pool of Lynne. Not really that too far out.
Yeah. And, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but no, I was saying, like, if When I Was a Boy was a little more low key and slow, this one's got a little more of a forward drive to it. Maybe I can contribute that to the that bass line it's got going. Bow 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 bow. It's got a little bit of head bob in there. It's not like a fast pace. You know, it's still slow and steady, but it gives it a little bit of a backing energy.
A little bit funky.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of funk in there. And the female vocals, I guess, of Miss Lynne, feel very throwback to, like, almost like a soulful stage performance. Like there's what they called, like, the doo-wop girls, where they'd be in the back on the mic, like kind of swaying left to right, and then they just jump in every now and then.
Yeah, that's exactly what it feels like. And this one, again, as I said, I'm going to be repetitive until the third song. Very basic bass and drum line with a heavy focus on the lyrics. Now, I gotta say, you gotta remember when listening to this album, this is Jeff Lynne playing the drums. He's 68. He also
he's not really a drummer.
So you got. I can kind of forgive that. My biggest complaint with this album is probably the percussion. But I can forgive it because it is him playing the drums, and I cannot imagine watching that.
And I mean, I'll play my hand again too. Where percussion is definitely a weak point on this album. I can compare it later when we go into our spare tire. I'm getting way ahead of ourselves, but it's very, very basic, like 1970s rock song percussion, right?
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom. You know, just 4/4, and doesn't really change it up throughout the entire album.
There's one song I think where he goes a bit wild with it, but it certainly draws. There's very little going. It's a bit difficult to listen to the instruments just because how much his focus is on the vocals. Now, personally, I don't know if that's because last year whenever I drove to or from school, I was listening to the song and singing along, so I was only ever listening to the lyrics. But
that's this is a vocal album front to back. It is Jeff Lynne's ELO. He's the lead singer.
Yeah.
Though I think it does it has a little interesting portion in the back half where it like opens up and goes to a very melodic section that kind of drops out the bass line and kind of got the soaring strumming by guitars.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like a little taste that dips its toe that kind of goes back to classic ELO.
Yeah.
So by no means a bad song. Yeah. I think it's got some interesting ideas for ELO.
Yeah, it's got that nice little guitar lick during the chorus, and then the solo after the chorus that's like a little bit dirty and sounds really realistic. You know, like it's just standing right in front of the microphone without putting any effects on it whatsoever or cleaning it up.
I think that's called lo-fi nowadays.
You're probably right, even though it's just playing guitar.
It feels weird to call ELO lo-fi.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't have the strongest finish to a song, I think, but it conveys a lot of emotion throughout, especially since it's his daughter singing along.
Yeah, and a couple songs do just kind of have classic rock endings, which is Fade to Black.
Yeah, but I did not realize how many did that before this, you know? Like I listened to this album like 2 times last week and a couple times this week, and I never caught it until I sat down to write everything, and I'm like, oh, these fade out.
I mean, that's just kind of like the stylings of the genre.
Yeah.
So I can't really blame it too much, even if it's a little abrupt sometimes.
Yeah. Jump into track number 3 then, if you're ready.
Yeah. Dirty to the Bone.
Oh, excuse me. Now, this one has a fantastic little lick to start it off.
It
very
does.
70s.
It's like a blink and you'll miss it moment.
Yeah.
But
thankfully, it repeats itself a couple of times, but it's very, very nice.
Yeah, and also given the song title kind of sounds like it'd be like a kind of more grungy kind of thing, it's actually a rather glistening song.
Yeah, very upbeat.
Very upbeat and very sonically like light. Though of course the lyrics are sad again.
Of course, this is ELO we're talking about. There's a couple albums that are happy, but the rest are pretty sad.
Yes, this album in particular.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Maybe it was like the way the vocals were like kind of I wouldn't say distorted, but kind of played with.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of gave me it reminded me of a couple songs off of Time, which is another one of their albums that we reviewed previously. It's like slightly an electric like filter on it.
Yeah. With him singing a little bit breathy. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna. This is the last time I'm gonna say it.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of the point where I was like, all right. I mean, I've listened to this album so many times, but this is the first time I'm like focusing on specific portions. You know.
Right.
If Jeff Lynne is singing, there is almost nothing changing in the background. There's nothing really evolving. It's the same things over and over.
Instrumentally.
Instrumentally. But the singing draws so much attention away from that, you don't really feel the repetition. And then once he stops singing, you know, the deviation in the instrumental line starts. So a guitar solo starts up, which are criminally short on this album. It's a 29-minute album, Jeff. You can write a bit more guitar solo. Come on.
I mean, he has a couple in there, but yeah, they do not stay long. They're in and out, unfortunately.
Yeah. There's one that sticks around a bit longer, but even then, I think it's only half as long as it should be. And I kind of wish throughout he did a bit more underneath, but you know, you don't really notice unless you're sitting down and analyzing. You know, if you're just listening to it in the background or listening to it and singing along, you listen to the vocals and the instruments in the background are there to prop those vocals up. So
I mean, I hear it on a few songs. It's definitely noticeable that the instrumentation isn't as let's say diverse as previous ELO albums. But at the same time, a lot of these songs are kind of structured to be that way, for the vocals to be like front and center and to be the attention. So at the very least, it leans into what's it's strong about, right?
Yeah.
Even if I do wish some of the instrumentation could have been a little bit more diverse.
Yeah. And like this one, it just needs more cowbell. The cowbell is not loud enough.
That's the problem. It needs more cowbell.
More cowbell.
We really don't get that enough nowadays, do we?
No. And this was one of the ones that actually has the a fade out on it that I didn't notice until this time. And it doesn't really work on this one super great. It's like you were saying, a very classic rock outro, just kind of fade out. So
yeah, for a lot of this is which I guess works on with this album. There's not really a definitive like arc, like album wise. Like you'd probably mix and match a lot of these songs. Besides maybe the first and last one, I'd keep those in those spots. But like the order doesn't feel as important on this album as it can on some projects.
Yeah, it's certainly just kind of they flow a little bit, but it's not telling a story like other albums, and none of them ever really go together.
Yeah, which I guess is another trapping of classic rock.
Yeah. Jumping on to track number 4 then.
Track number 4.
When the Night Comes.
Yeah, so I guess it bears repeating since this is where I think it kind of shows a little bit more than on some other songs. Or the fact that the instrumentation doesn't build kind of makes this one a little grating, at least in my opinion. Where it's got like a good foundation, good melodic hook, and of course Jeff Lynne's vocals always deliver, but it just kind of ends the same place where they were at the beginning. It just kind of stays static. It flatlines, which makes it a little uninteresting.
See, I mean, of course, I like every song on this album, but this one's got that nice heavy bass, and I think I had trouble listening to anything other than the vocals in this one because he's doing so much classic Jeff vocals. He's kind of swinging up and down as the song goes on, and there's what is it? There's a callback to I'm Feeling Midnight Blue. Midnight Blue is a song on their Discovery album released in 1979. Always got to have that little callback to a previous song.
A little Easter egg for you ELO heads out there.
Exactly. And then he throws in the mandatory guitar solo at this point. This one's much more reminiscent of old ELO, kind of got a bit more meat to it, even though if it's shorter. A lot less soaring and a lot more technical, and then, of course, the fade out again. I did struggle to listen to the instruments on this one, but playing the song in my head, I agree that it's a little repetitive, but...
Yeah, I mean, this one, the vocals are good on it. It's not like anything stand out on this album. But again, it kind of varies from song to song of this album of whether the instrumental is strong enough to begin with to carry the song. Like Love and Rain, I think it's got a strong enough instrumental with that kind of bass line going, and then a little switch up near the end to kind of carry it along with Jeff's vocals. Here, though, it just, like I said, it's like a good half, but it just doesn't. It's spread too thin whenever you don't change anything, even though it's a very strong foundation. You need to be dynamic in the song to keep things a little more interesting. And I feel like this song suffers from it more than maybe some of the others on this album.
I can see that. Yeah. Just holding myself back here so I don't attack you.
It's like if you like use like a really fresh like spring water, like very fresh like cabbage, and then like salt, and then you made soup out of it, right? Those are all great ingredients, but you need to add maybe a little bit more. Throw in some, a little bit of meat. Throw in some carrots, right?
Yeah.
You need to have a little more meat on the bone. And it's not like any of these songs are particularly long. They're all within the like 3-minute mark. So just a little variation would be nice to keep the replayability of it Because obviously I listened to this album several times,
Mm-hmm.
and a couple songs that came in like, okay, I remember this. I get the picture. Let's just go on to the better songs. There's nothing really keeping me from going, ooh, but I want to wait for this next part.
I can see what you're saying here. That solo, though, come on, that guitar solo.
It is a good solo, though. I'll give you that. But like I said, not nearly long enough.
Yeah. The guitar solos on this need to be much longer. Jumping to track number 5, then, if you're ready.
Yes, let's do it.
The sun will shine on you.
The sun will shine on you.
Now, this one is got a really different start than any other song, I think. It's really ethereal. Kind of having those single guitar plucks just kind of fading out and in. And then Jeff comes in singing really breathily, making it feel even more ethereal. And then it hits and all the other instruments come in and the song starts pretty much.
See, this is the little spice that I'm asking for in my songs. I really like this intro. How kind of, it's lush but also ethereal. And like you said, the low synth with the harp, it like brings an entirely different mood that we haven't been introduced to in this album yet. And it's actually pretty unique for ELO overall.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't overstay its welcome because it like the piano and bass kind of break in later, but it's just like this nice little gateway into the rest of the song. Makes it feels like it goes from point A to point B.
Yeah. It's also got a nice little bit of harmonization at the opening, which hasn't been done yet, and it's done a little bit later on, but not too much. And it's really nice because when there's so much focus on the singing, throwing in a couple louder accompaniment lines to harmonize do a lot.
Yes. Add a depth to it.
Yeah. But overall, this song has an even more low-key feeling than other songs on the album, with Jeff's voice doing even more heavy lifting than usual over a lot of sustained notes and some nice soft piano.
Yeah, and I honestly can't sing his praises enough for just how impressive this guy's belting out at like his late 60s, right? Yeah. Honestly, this project he is the cornerstone of this project.
I mean, he's playing every instrument. So.
Or I guess I should say his vocals are. Yeah, this literally would not exist if Jeff Lynne was not in it.
Jeff Lynne is the whole band, which is why it's called Jeff Lynne's ELO.
So, but I'm saying the vocal performance, right? If it was even a little bit weaker, this project would probably implode on itself.
Yeah. When I read a couple of the oh crap, I haven't been doing this. I pulled up the Wikipedia so we could talk about the inspirations of the songs.
Oh, it's like a little bit of background.
Yeah, but some of the reviews are saying how great this is for such a late album. Usually, as artists get older, it kind of starts getting sucky.
Yeah, some artists, especially classic rock artists, phone it in, right?
Yeah.
Where either they just don't produce new music, they just release like 30 best ofs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at you, Kiss.
Yeah, we were having that conversation a while ago. Can you name any more than 2 Kiss songs?
I Want to Rock and Roll All Night.
There's one.
Actually can't think of a second Kiss song.
They have 13 albums. I think. It might be even more at this point. But there's several bands that just kind of flop. Even though, like, everybody knows Kiss. They're on freaking Scooby-Doo. Everybody knows Kiss. They're not good, but everybody knows them. But nobody can name any of their music. Then again, who can name ELO? But still.
Yeah, but I think the point stands that it's sometimes a little more rare to have an artist that was very good in the 70s or the 80s,
mm-hmm.
and then they released now in the 2010s, and it's still something that's extremely listenable and enjoyable to listen to.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just it's something that's a little difficult to do.
Mm.
I mean, David Bowie did it, but
yeah, he did. David Bowie did everything, though.
He did everything in more ways than one.
Yeah. So I'll quickly read some of this inspiration since I forgot to do it earlier. So jumping back to When I Was a Boy, that one, as I said, is about Lynne's childhood and teenage years in Birmingham. he said it's the most autobiographical song I've ever written. The words just wrote themselves, whereas normally I'd sweat them out and chain myself to my desk. And then Love and Rain, the second song on the album, began as an old recording demo and is one of Lynne's favorite songs. And the main riff sounds like a giant clavinet, but it was actually a Telecaster. And
I just find it interesting that an artist's favorite song on an album is rarely my favorite song on the album.
Yeah, what was it last week?
Was it Oh, that was we're listening to Glass Animals, the last song in their album, which I thought that was one of their weaker songs. The lead singer's like, "Oh, this is the best one on the album."
Yeah. Well, you know, they have their
emotions play a big role in it.
Yeah. When the Night Comes, jumping back to that, it says it's one of the few songs that features a string section, but several of them have strings, so I'm guessing that's keyboard on Jeff's part. And the track started its life as a demo on a cassette.
Remember those?
Yeah. Now, Sun Will Shine on You catching up, so I'll do these from here on out. It's a song that Lynne wrote for somebody he loved who was facing some big trouble, as Wikipedia says.
That's vague, but I'm assuming it's a personal thing. So
at the same time, to cheer himself up. He said the song made him feel better, a little less alone in the universe. Haha. He said with the title.
There. He said the thing. Well, he says the thing later anyway, so it's actually one of the songs. So
yeah. Jumping on to track number 6 then.
Yes, let's do it.
Hope I accidentally clicked the wrong thing. Track number 6, Ain't It a Drag?
Ain't It a Drag? And this song does not drag.
It does not.
It actually takes off like a bat right away.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'd say it's probably the most energetic on this song on the album so far.
Yeah, so Lynne said it began because I wanted a rocker for the album. You always need a rocker, or at least I do.
Sorry, I'm just imagining like my grandpa saying that.
Yeah.
You gotta have a rocker.
Yeah.
Not an album without a rocker.
And this is one of the only swears that Jeff Lynne has ever said in his life.
Really?
No, he rarely swears in the music, though.
I mean, that I believe. But I didn't remember hearing a swear in this song.
He says, shit hits the fan.
Oh, well, there you go. I was kind of more focused on, I'm not sure if it was just me, but his vocal stylings almost kind of reminded me of him doing almost like a bit of a Bob Dylan impression. I'm not sure if that was just me or like just the type of song he was doing.
I don't get that feeling, but I can kind of see where you're coming from, I think.
Like specifically on the verses.
Yeah.
Or he kind of stretches out his that's a terrible Bob Dylan impression. Disregard. But
yeah. Now this one actually has a really cool thing that I didn't notice until now. Right at the beginning, there's a split ear thing. So like one instrument plays in one ear and one instrument plays in the other. And it's the bass line and guitar playing the same lick in opposite ears. And I could never tell that until now, but it's so well done. Like that is the epitome of perfect, only one instrument in one ear. Because usually they have it where it's the guitar is playing in one ear and it's very obvious, But
right.
Something like that where you can't tell just adds to the song. It doesn't. You're not suddenly distracted by, oh, is my headphones broken? Oh no, it's just only playing on one side. Yeah. So
very. The Beatles did that a lot too.
They did, and I absolutely hate it.
Well, they did it specifically with the vocals, which I've never been a fan of. But when it's like instruments, I'm a little more accepting of it. Because then it doesn't feel like someone's speaking into only one side of my ear.
Sometimes it gets really bad, though, if like the main guitar is the only thing.
Yeah, true. But if it's not too obvious.
Yeah. So this is the one I was talking about earlier where the drum gets a bit more going in this one.
Yeah, since it is a rock song.
I went back and just listened to the drums one time through this, and there's some things in that it's like imagining him just sitting there doing the constant beats on the drum and then suddenly doing a very quick breakdown and going back. I just can't imagine him doing that
before his arthritis flares up again.
Yeah, I mean he's only he was only 68 when he made this. That's not that old, you know.
I mean, it's old enough that it start to you can exactly perform like you did back in the day.
Yeah, but I mean, you think about it. Well, ignoring the United States, we're the outlier. What's the average lifespan of a guy these days? It's like
83 or something.
Yeah.
Last time I checked. Sam, all I know is I don't want to be able to get out of my bed by the time I'm 58.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
I want my bones to melt.
I don't know how to follow that up. I mean, I can make you some cake or something if you want. Speed along that process. But the drums sound a lot better in this one than previous. But still, they need more love.
They definitely weren't neglected, but you know,
it was Jeff playing the drums. So.
Now that I know that Jeff playing the drums, I feel like I'm giving him a pass.
Yeah,
but I am.
Yeah,
it's like he's doing his best. He's doing so much on this album. I'm shortcoming.
I mean, if we're being realistic, he probably did that last. He probably came back to the drums finally. He's like, I don't want to. We'll just do this. You know, this kind of sounds like what Bev used to do. So,
yeah, but it's definitely a rocking song. I like it.
Got a bit more harmony in this one, as I was saying earlier, especially with the chorus and himself hitting ridiculously high notes, and his daughter in there a little bit too.
The whole Lynne crew.
Yeah, and
you should have.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, you can go.
I was just gonna say the guitar work at the end is very pleasing, but the fade out is not.
Hey, that's the way this album rolls.
Yeah, well, there's so many of these that have fade outs that I had no idea. I just never realized.
Well, isn't it the point of a fade out that you don't even know the song's gone until it is?
That's a good point, and it worked on this one. Usually, it doesn't work on me, but
I guess it works better if you're just like if you're not trying to analyze it.
Yeah, because a lot of these albums I come into knowing I'm going to analyze, but this one I've been listening to for years and years and years. So.
Yeah, but we can, if you're good with that, we can move on to track number 7, All My Life.
There you go.
Which, I'll say this is probably kind of got the same syndrome that When the Night Comes has, where I feel like the instrumentation is not interesting enough to sustain the whole song, but then it also doesn't build on itself. So it's like, you're just stuck with it. You're just sitting in there.
See, I'll agree with the instrumentation, but the vocals in this one have so much emotion. I think it's completely fine. It's and also it's one of the very few happy songs on a really sad boy album.
That's true, but at the same, like I can't keep just giving the instrumentation a pass because I really like Jeff's. Especially because by now we're 7 songs deep, right? Not exactly novel that he's singing good at this point.
But this one I feel like this one carries so much more emotion than even previous songs. I don't know if that's because I'm imposing my own feelings on it, but like this sounds like the kind of song that you would sing to, after the first dance, the guy usually sings a song or sometimes sings a song to his new wife. This feels like the kind of song that you'd sing at that point. So it feels like there's a lot of emotional depth to that.
Well, for me, it kind of, I think it kind of draws out the bad instrumentation. Like, I agree with you this is a very good emotional performance, and Jeff performs as always. It's kind of like, putting very like high class ingredients on like bunny bread, you can kind of tell the difference where one just kind of serving its function, it's nothing special, just kind of, it exists to carry the good stuff. But just makes me wish that the instrumentation was a little more varied and up to snuff.
I'll respectfully disagree.
That's fair enough.
The strings come back on this one though, and they play along with the guitar solo, which is that's real nice. But again, solo too short, even with the strings playing along with the main line.
The solos are a little short on on this one.
But it's
I think that it just comes down because
album.
It seems to have these weird he like tries to keep every single song at just around the 3-minute mark. It almost seems like self-imposed.
Yeah, but it's not. It doesn't feel like they're cut off early or drawn out too long. It's just it feels like that's what they come out to be. Because I mean, that's what songs used to be. You know.
Well, they're not drawn off too long because the instrumentations don't vary as much.
Yeah, but what is it? Songs can't speak right now. A lot of their songs are not long. I mean, what is it? Traditional, going back to the 80s, a traditional song was, at max 4 minutes long, right?
Yeah.
It kind of, I think he's just kind of stuck in his ways a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a bad thing because this album, like I said, he leans into that structure, and I think the album benefits from it.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't want this song to be 6 minutes long, right? Unless it had like a hell of a guitar solo, but still. So I think the time limit benefits this. I just still kind of wish the instrumentation was a little more interesting.
I feel that. Jumping on to track number 8, then, if you're ready.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm Leaving You.
So I'm guessing this is not a happy song.
Well, actually,
no.
Not really. It's kind of a little bit melancholy. He wrote this song in tribute to one of his close friends and fellow Wilbury, because he started out as a traveling Wilbury, and several other ELO members did as well. Roy Orbison. He said he wrote it. I tried to write a Roy Orbison song like he would have written it with his pal Joe Melson. That kind of style. Obviously not the singing, but that tune could have been Roy Orbison's song. It would have been a great one had he sung it, but of course, I'm a bit late for that by about 28 years. He was a lovely guy anyway, and I wanted to give him a nod on this album. Yeah, so it is sad, but the same way it's,
a little bittersweet.
Yeah, writing a song for a good friend. That's crazy.
Well,
how old was Roy when he died?
Well, I haven't listened to any Roy Orbison music, but I do like the stylings of this song.
Yeah.
Especially with that kind of wah-wahing lead guitar.
He was only 52 when he died. Jesus.
Oh, it's so young.
Sorry, continue.
Oh, but like I said, I like the wah-wahing of the song.
Mm-hmm.
And the chorus, I think, is pretty nifty. I really like this chorus.
Yeah. Yeah, it was...
Like, I feel the emotion on this one more than I did in All My Life. Personally. Which, I don't know, maybe because it's kind of a little more... it's almost a little more laid back.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of juxtaposed against that guitar. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, and it's kind of got some of the bit more of that classic Jeff Lynne with the jumps and vocals and kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's more happening in the strings on this one, which I appreciated, and the bass line working along with the vocals really nicely.
It's a little more rich.
Yeah.
It's so dense. Okay, it's not dense.
It's not. There is one that is, but we'll get to that.
Oh, yeah? Well, which one is it, Sam? We've only got 2 songs left.
I don't know. But yeah, this one is very, very sweet tribute.
Yeah. It's nice. It's a little bit of a different styling, but I think Jeff Lynne does very well on it.
Mm. Jumping to track number 9 then.
Track number 9. One step at a time. Now, this one, I said before on, I think maybe Dirty to the Bone, but this one definitely reminds me of Time.
Yeah.
Maybe just the way that, I'm not sure what you call it, but that backing guitar with the kind of like pulsating synth.
Yeah, it's probably the pulsing synth.
Very Time-esque.
Very unique sound.
Time really liked its pulsing synth.
Mm-hmm. It nicely offsets that kind of hard guitar with the verse changes, though. I really like that, where it's kind of like pulsing synth and kind of a soft guitar and then really hard electric guitar between the verses.
Oh, yeah. It's a nice juxtaposition. And of course, Jeff's performing good on it. I really like the his kind of sweet his sweet melodic little dip he does with in the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, like, okay, Jeff, you're doing good.
And
you're really bringing your vocal A game to this one.
Yeah, not to mention him starting off in the way he's been singing the whole album, and then really launching up there in octaves with the guitar solo.
Oh yeah, and then once you get to the chorus, it brings you that cowbell that you wanted, Sam.
Mm-hmm.
it's here in spades.
Yeah, I will say I had a slight complaint on this one. This is the longer guitar solo than we've had the rest of the album, which I greatly appreciate. But after the solo, he launches straight back into the chorus, and it would have been nice to have another verse in there, or at least a bit longer guitar solo.
Yeah, a little, maybe
just a little bit more, but otherwise, no complaints.
Yeah, this is an enjoyable little ditty.
Yeah, and this one again, another fade out. I only noticed one before that wasn't. I didn't. What is it on the last song? We'll get to that. I never even mentally processed that it was a fade out. I would sing along with the fade out and not process that it was a fade out.
This one, I think the fade out's the most noticeable, just because it's like a 30-second fade out.
Yeah.
Well, your song's like 3 minutes long, right?
Yeah.
But it's still a good song, so.
Yeah. And it's all so far all the songs have been, you can tell they're Jeff Lynne, but they've all been different,
Oh yeah, it's not
like it's a Panic at the Disco.
Yeah, these don't like run together. You could play like the first couple bars from any of the song, and I'd be able to spot them out pretty much immediately.
Yeah, there's not much overlap.
So it's very what's the term? It's a consistent album, but it's not like homogeneous, right?
Yeah,
or homogeneous, I guess is the way you pronounce words.
Isn't that the correct pronunciation?
What?
Homogeneous?
Yeah, I said homogeneous.
Oh, tomato, potato.
Well.
If you're ready, Cooper, we can jump to the final song on the album.
Let's do it.
Track number 10, the title track. Very ballsy, putting the title track as the last
closer
song on the album. Alone in the Universe.
It's the last song of the album. It's the title track. It's the longest song of the album. Sam, do you think it'll live up to the hype?
Oh my God, Cooper. So, not only do we have some lovely electronic beeps and boops over a rushing wind sound. So this is quintessential ELO condensed into one song in modern day. So you got the electronic beeps and boops, and bringing in some random noises, and then got some far off faded whistling. Is this some more random noises being added in? Yes, please.
You love those.
I love random noise, and then brings back that pulsing synth once again with the soaring strings, and again, Jeff Lynne just bringing his A game with the vocals.
Oh yeah, as always. And then I don't know, but this album as a whole, ELO has a very strong discography. I think we can both agree.
Ignoring Bop.
Ignoring Balance of Power, right? Which you should.
Except for Telephone or Calling America. That is a banger of a song.
Yeah, but on a whole, they have a very strong discography. And this is a good album. I'm not going to say it's like near the top of their discography, but it's not near the bottom either. But if like someone had to like say, okay, you only get to choose one song from each ELO album, this one, Alone in the Universe, would be the one hands down. This is like in their best of kind of material.
Yeah, I will say this now as opposed to when we're finished talking about the song. This is probably one of my favorite songs ever written. I love this song.
This is not even on the album. This is of all time.
All time.
This is a GOAT song.
Yeah, but granted, you got to remember, 95% of the music in my favorite music is ELO. So,
and from the comments, good points being made where it's where the best song on the album is the title track,
which I imagine we will be getting into when we talk about From Out of Nowhere, because that song it's grown on me quite a bit, but I'm really hoping that there's a song on that album that's stronger than that.
But it's no Alone in the Universe.
It's no Alone in the Universe by far. And this was not released as a solo, important note. The 4 solos on this album, or 4 singles rather, were When I Was a Boy, which
makes sense.
I can't imagine listening to that when that came out. Like, wow, is anything going to top that? When the Night Comes, One Step at a Time, and Ain't It a Drag. Although
I'm really surprised this is not a single, because this is like, I feel like this is like the face of the album. This is the song I think of when I think of the album.
Well, it's the title song. You should.
That, but also just because it's such a strong song.
Yeah,
it's got that nice piano backing where it's like the dun dun da da, just like going throughout that kind of serves as the bedrock.
Yeah. Now this one brings back some really nice feelings of old school ELO, and while there still isn't as much going on underneath the vocals as we would wish, there's a lot more than other songs on this album, with little noises popping in and kind of instruments going in and out. And then the end of this is this is what I was saying. I didn't realize it was fading, but the little random vocal lines fading in and out while the whole song is fading, with the little help me's popping in. I feel like this is one of the only acceptable uses of a fade.
Oh yeah, it leans into it and makes it very strong.
This is.
And then of course.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. And then on top of that, just the emotion of this song overall is probably, if I had to choose like its strongest point, it's just Jeff Lynne's performance and emotion on this.
Mm-hmm. Gives me chills every time.
As the song title kind of alludes to, this is a sad boy song.
Yeah. This is the song that I introduced Cooper to off this album, because I've been listening to this album for a very long time, probably since it came out. I can't remember.
Well, it'd be hard to listen to that before it came out.
Yeah. But we were on a car trip. I can't remember it was probably sophomore year, I think. I was like, "Oh, dude, you gotta play this song." And I'm sitting there humming along, and the song ends, and Cooper's like, "Man, that's a really sad song. Is everything all right?"
I mean, it is. There's what's the one line of "I'm tired of being alone."
Yeah.
He says that a couple times. I'm just like, "Oh, Jeff."
Now,
you're making me so sad.
This one had the strangest inspiration that I didn't actually know until I read this. So the title song was inspired by an article that he read about the Voyager 1 probe leaving the solar system, becoming the first man-made object to enter interstellar space. Lynne said, "It tickled me thinking about that. I mean, how lonely can you get? I sort of turned it into a missing somebody type deal of like Voyager 1 was missing Voyager 2, so I turned it into people."
Oh man, now I like the song even more.
Yeah. But yeah, I just didn't, and it's kind of fitting that we're doing this right after Voyager 2 has left the solar system.
Yeah,
that was a week ago, I think.
Now they're alone together.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's such a good song. I'm excited for our year-end thing where I have to compete with this against the Mind Electric. So.
Oh yeah, this is obviously we're singing its praise. This is a super strong album closer.
Yeah.
Thematically, I think it's strong. Kind of putting all together the kind of disparate thoughts about loneliness. Sonically, vocally, it's even got one of the more interesting instrumentals on it.
Mm-hmm.
So
And then, obviously, if you're listening on Spotify, you go with the fault line.
Which it's like it's like ending a perfect meal and being like, and then a guy comes and is like, "Hey, and here's some flaming hot Cheetos just to clean your palate." Well, I mean, it's not bad, but I kind of need some space.
Fault Line's a good song though. Very country, very.
I don't think it's that good of a song.
I like the little twist up he does with the chorus. So it's living on the fault line, and then he switches it and changes the spacing. I certainly wouldn't go out and listen to it. I usually just let it play through to the end. But it's certainly a weak song.
It's definitely a bonus track.
Yeah.
It's what I'm saying is I guess it's good that Japan didn't get that.
Yeah, but then there's Blue. Now that
which I do think is a lot stronger than
that's a really good song. I think that should have been included on this album rather than maybe When the Night Comes.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's stronger than some of the weaker songs in the album.
It's got that bit of quarter step stuff going on too. I love that.
It's a little quarter step. It's a little bit sad.
Yeah.
It's got the word blue, which ELO seems to like for some reason.
Yeah, very, very blue centric.
Yeah, I could see this popping in. But still, dang. Going straight from Alone in the Universe to Fault Line is whiplash. I kind of wish Spotify would just kind of put its own deluxe edition so I wouldn't have to automatically go to it. But,
Yeah. Well, that was the album.
That was the whole Alone in the Universe album.
That was. We even talked a little bit about the Japan-only release and the bonus tracks, which...
Yeah, which we won't be.
Nice to get in there when they're not super long, and the album's only freaking 29 minutes without the 3 extra songs. So
yeah, it's a pretty tight listen.
Yeah.
Obviously, we won't be including the Japan or the bonus tracks in our overall review.
Yeah, yeah.
But, you know, they're at least worth looking into, maybe besides Fault Line. But
I will say, I always do listen to the bonus tracks as well, because I just let the Spotify play all the way through. So
yeah, it's nice to kind of see the ideas of what they thought shouldn't be in the album.
Mm-hmm. Even if Blue
like
should have definitely been included in the album.
Yeah, I mean, what? But Sam, then it would have had to been like a humongous 32-minute album. I'm not sure if I had the time.
It already was in Japan. Why couldn't they give that to the U.S.? Oh well. So Cooper, what is your rating of this album? Oh wait, no wait, favorite, least favorite. Sorry.
Hey, whoa, let's hold our horses. Though obviously favorite. That's not too hard to choose. It's definitely Alone in the Universe.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, that's just such a strong song. Great performance, good instrumentation. Jeff Lynne's emotions are great. And then also kind of like a sub, definitely below, but also worth mentioning is When I Was a Boy.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Just a strong opener. This album's got a great opener and a great closer, which is rare to kind of get that double duty there. In terms of least enjoyable, least favorite, probably When the Night Comes. Like I said, it didn't feel like there's enough material there or enough variation. And in the same line, All My Life, I also thought was a weaker song, where they both kind of didn't have enough interesting ideas to carry even a 3-minute song. I mean, Jeff's vocals on them were great as always, but you need something to help like keep your interest on repeat listens and make things a little more interesting sonically.
Well, I'm going to have to be pretty similar here. Number 1 is absolutely Alone in the Universe. That was the song every day when I was driving home from school, I would time that so when I was finishing parking, that would be the last song I would be singing along with. Because you can't end on anything else, That is the closer. That is it. Number 2 is absolutely When I Was a Boy. I'm going to go do a couple here just to give you a taste. Number 3, I'm going to say is The Sun Will Shine on You. Very, very nice, breathy. And then somewhere in there, All My Life, because I think I project a lot of emotion onto that. I do not rate it nearly as lowly as you do, but I'm not going to say it's 4. It's middle of the pack. Least favorite is definitely When the Night Comes. I still really like the song, but it is one of the weaker songs. And Love and Rain is a bit weak as well, I feel. I list that as my second weakest. I really love the song, but it just for being the second song in the album, I wish it just had a bit more, I can forgive the middle of the album being a bit blander, but at the beginning, I think you need a bit more. So,
and also, I guess by comparison to When I Was a Boy, it's definitely a step down.
Yeah. But overall, I mean, all these, I would rather listen to When the Night Comes 1,000 times before listening to Origins again or something like that.
Oh no, this is even their low points are still, they're listenable, if a little boring.
Yeah.
They're not like mind grating like some of the least favorite songs we discussed.
Where I've actually I've taken 3, I think on Origins I took 3 breaks. That album's only like 40 minutes. I had to take 3 breaks listening to an album all the way through.
That album gave me a headache.
It did. It was terrible. Anyway.
We'll discuss that more at our end of year list.
Yeah.
I don't want to sully ELO with that right now.
Exactly. So Cooper,
but,
what is your opinion on this album?
Yeah, well, to quickly go over our rating system before we jump right into it, we kind of do a car-based rating system with our weakest rating being scrapyard, bottom of the barrel. You don't want this. This is junk and has no use for anything. To the tip top, which is showroom, pristine, right off the factory floor. This is new, and for me, I think I'd have to give this album a pretty high like new. It's not perfect, like we said, instrumentation severely lacking, and on a album with a weaker vocal performance, a weaker kind of band history, I could even see it dropping down to like a fixer-upper. But Jeff Lynne's performance is just so good. It's such a lovable album, and it's a throwback really to a simpler time of genre that I'm able to wash away some of its faults a bit more and let its strengths shine through. And like I said, it's got a killer opener, an even more killer closer. So for someone who's 50 years into his career, to still make an album that's not only consistent with his past discography, but also worth listening to in its own right, even not including nostalgia. I gotta give this a like new. It's a very strong outing from a man who's well into his career.
And I am going to have to give it, probably to no one's surprise, a showroom. This is, while I recognize there are faults, I'm not going to blindly say it's one of the greatest albums of all time, like Time is. It definitely has. I've got a huge soft spot for it, and this is, if I'm driving in the car and I'm like, you know what, I need to sing to something, it's this album. It's very consistent, very good, and the vocal stylings just push it that much further, I think. And this is why I'm hoping that From Out of Nowhere is going to be really good, because even this late, Jeff Lynne can still write music, and doesn't have that many misses. I mean, when was Bop? Bop was a while ago.
2001? Oh no, 87.
Yeah.
Right.
So that was the last bad album, hailed as a bad album. So,
and that's like what, 1 out of 10? That's a pretty good batting average.
Yeah. So we're got my fingers crossed for this one, and probably maybe I'll put off listening to it again. We'll see. We'll see when I break down and actually listen to the full album before next weekend. So
yeah. So like I said, next time we're going to be reviewing their latest ELO album that just released a couple days ago, which is Out of Nowhere. So
maybe if I can convince you, Cooper, for the last Sunday of Thanks-Lynning, we could do Bop. If we're here, that is. I might actually not be here for the last Sunday. We'll see.
Well, we'll let's listen to the new album first.
Yeah.
The way I see it, if the new album's good and we enjoy it, I'll be more susceptible to going to Bop and being like, oh, remember that one funny time they made a bad album?
Uh-huh.
The new album's not that good. I don't want to be like, oh, now we have to listen to another bad ELO.
We could do a good one. We could go back to the first one.
Yeah, that's true. So
we could go back to way old school. And then at some point we should do ELO 2.
Your ultimate goal is just to review every ELO album.
I mean, that was kind of why I wanted to start the podcast, but yeah.
ELO 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah. Well, that they got shut down by a lawsuit from Jeff, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah.
That was ex-band members creating kind of classic style. There's a sheet somewhere that I should give you to post on Twitter of, you like this version of ELO, then you should listen to. Looking for more orchestra, listen to this. Looking for more synth, listen to Bop.
So. Yeah, well, I wouldn't recommend Bop to most people, but...
Well, that was Alone in the Universe. A bit more drawn out, as I listen to this album usually at least once a week.
But I had fun with this one.
Yeah, it's a very, very solid album.
Well, I would hope so.
Yeah.
It's but we also have a little segment at the end where we talk about our spare tires.
Bye, Jeff.
It's basically songs that we goodbye, Jeff. We'll bring him back next week.
Don't worry, he'll still be here.
Looking as tasty as ever. But we have Spare Tires, which is just some miscellaneous music that we've been listening to throughout the week and would like to recommend to people to check out. So, Sam, what are your Spare Tires for the week?
Yeah, so I've been listening to a little bit of going back to the kind of smooth stylings that I had cravings for at the beginning of the summer, and been listening to some Larry Carlton. He's a jazz musician. Specifically, his album Room 335, which is a very, very long album, but it's got a lot of good songs on it, and a couple of the ones I used to listen to fall asleep to, which smooth jazz still puts me to sleep. So it's nice to kind of relax too. Don't listen to it while driving, though. That's not a good idea.
No, don't fall asleep while you're driving.
But what is it? The first song of the album is Room 355 long version. And it's like 10 minutes long, and it's very, very good song. If you like jazz, you probably know Larry Carlton. Go listen to the album. Or if you don't have time for I think it's like an hour and a half album maybe, listen to just his collections, which is kind of the best of. And that one's got a lot of classic jazz songs that he does his take on, and some that he's written himself. So,
hey, well, nice. I don't listen to enough jazz, so I'll have to give him a look-see.
Very good artist.
And then for my spare tire, I have two very different genres I'd like to recommend. One is there's a hip hop artist named Earl Sweatshirt that I enjoy. He released a new, EP recently called Feet of Clay that I enjoyed. It's if you like that, check out his previous album called Some Rap Songs. It's very interesting, kind of experimental rap, where it's a 15-song album, but it's only 24 minutes long. So like just really small snippets. Like each song's like a minute to a minute and a half long. So it's just like an idea, nice, and then it was a very interesting change of pace. You have an idea, and then it's gone. So recommend that if you're looking for something a little more interesting in terms of hip hop. And then if you're looking for some good drumming, I have a song for you. It's called Vitamin C by the German krautrock band Can. That's CAN. This song is like I said, it came out in the 70s, and it's from like a kind of experimental German rock band. But it feels like it could have come out like last year, especially for 70s music. And the drumming on this song, Samuel, the drumming on this song. I'm not even one to usually like notice percussion, but it's stellar. Like it sounds like a machine was playing it, but obviously it came out in the early 70s, so this was all human drumming, and it's very precise.
Some high praise.
Oh yeah, it's a catchy song too. So I
have to give it a listen after this song.
Yeah, it's only like 3 minutes long, so not too much of a time sink. But I recommend it.
But yeah, that's the show.
Yeah,
that's
it.
Actually, not actually that much longer than normal. We usually run about an hour 20, so that's
standard. But it was also like a 30-minute album, so.
Yeah, that's a good point. We talked a lot about a very short album, because the last album that was 30 minutes was Aphex Twin, and we only talked for like 45 minutes on that. So
yeah, well, that one was a little harder to talk about.
Yeah, it was. So anyway, thank you all for joining us today. Mainly Matt. I'm pretty sure you're the only one here right now. But for those of you listening on YouTube, if YouTube is still around in the following couple months after Google destroys and nukes the internet, you can always join us on Twitch. We're usually live Sundays at 8 p.m., weather permitting. And, that's probably going to be going forward unless we somehow survive this coming YouTube apocalypse, as it seems to happen once a year nowadays.
Hey, we always got Twitch.
Yeah, well, it doesn't really archive for that long is the only issue. So if that does happen, maybe we'll look into paying $12 a month for unlimited storage on Spotify, SoundCloud wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, so maybe I'll do that.
Yeah, and if you want to keep updated on if we're ever doing a move or what we're going to be reviewing next, you can always hit us up at AudioShop14 on Twitter, where we'll give you the times, like I said, Sunday at 8 p.m., and the album we're going to review. This one will just tell you outright we're going to be reviewing From Out of Nowhere from Jeff Lynne's ELO. So,
yeah. And you can watch us live on Twitch if you're watching this archive footage, unless this is far, far in the future when we're multimillionaires and we probably aren't speaking to each other anymore, at twitch.tv/audio_shop. And if you're watching live, I'm looking at you, Matt. You can go back and listen to every single show we've ever done on YouTube, if YouTube still exists. And that is youtube.com, and you just search Audio Shop. It's got the same little icon. We got some stuff on SoundCloud too, but there's only get 3 free hours there. So in the future, if you're listening to this 5 years down the line, maybe we'll be making $12 a month off this, and then we can post it there. So
Yeah, or throw a suggestion in the suggestion box down on Twitch. We also like to review music from you guys.
Yeah,
it's always nice to have something new that neither of us have ever even thought of.
We did that quite a few times when we're like, I don't really have anything. Do you have anything? Nah. Yeah, just take a suggestion. We'll do that.
So I think that's about it.
Yeah. Thank you all for listening, and we will catch you again, same time, same place, next weekend.
Thanks-Lynning continues.
Come and get your second serving at Thanks-Lynning.
Yeah, we're going to reheat the leftovers and serve them to you.
No. This is a full new meal.
Full new meal. Of what? Yet to be determined.
Week 3 will probably be the leftovers. Because I really hope I can convince you to do Bob.
Well, we'll see how this one turns out.
We'll see. See you later, shoppies.
Have a great night.
Good night.